You've successfully created your web app and published it to Azure. But what happens when you want to make changes? Visual Studio will remember where the app is published, which makes updating and changing your app a two-click process. We've created an ASP.NET Core web app in Visual Studio, and now you will need to edit and customize your website. Let's explore the project structure to see what Visual Studio has created for us. Dependencies include the ASP.NET Core internals to get your app up and running. Unless you are adding specific third-party packages, you don't need to spend much time in this folder. The Properties folder contains configuration data for where you are hosting your web app. If you expand the Publish Profiles folder now, you should see the URL for the Alpine Ski Hill site. Each publishing profile is a .xml file containing publishing configuration information, such as the Azure address that Visual Studio uses to upload your files. The www root file contains all of your static assets for your site, such as the CSS, JS, images, and lib files. When you are ready to style and add more functionality to your site, you will work in here. The Pages folder includes Razor templates for the pages of your site. Razor is a syntax that is built up around HTML, which has special conventions for displaying data and executing logic on your site. Each page in your site is represented with two code files. The first is a .cshtml file, which is the Razor markup file. This file includes your display HTML and some C# logic. The second file is a .cs file, which is the C# code behind that includes page model class. This file allows you to intercept HTTP requests and do some processing on that request before passing off any data to the Razor file. This is a configuration file for ASP.NET Core. Program.cs and Startup.cs configure and launch your web host for your site. You will want to make some basic changes to your website. You will need to have a basic understanding of how to leverage the Razor templates to customize your web app. Razor is an ASP.NET syntax used to create dynamic web pages with C#. When a server reads a Razor page, the C# code is run before it renders the HTML. This allows you to generate dynamic content quickly. Razor uses @directives to tell ASP.NET how to process a page. The @page directive is telling ASP.NET to process this file as a Razor page. The @model directive is telling ASP.NET to tie this Razor page with a C# class called privacy model. Razor also uses the symbol to transition between code and HTML. It uses the symbol and curly brackets. This is a Razor code block. It's code that is executed but not rendered. To render the output of a code statement, use the in front of a C# expression, such as @viewData. Creating and publishing a website are just the first steps in creating a good website. Once you start to add content, you'll need to update your site. Once you've initially published your site to Azure, you can update at any time.